What if an appliance emergency didn't have to be? If your appliances suddenly decided they were done, don't stress. Best Buy has you covered with a wide variety of major appliances from trusted brands, in stock and available now. So you don't have to worry about laundry piling up, refilling the fridge, or that big dinner party you're hosting. Because Best Buy has the knowledge and expertise to get you the right appliance for your home. Learn more at bestbuy.com. Best Buy. Imagine that.
Well, it's 8:05 on Wednesday night.
Are you looking forward to Liverpool's trophy lifting ceremony?
No, but I really hope they win right now. I really never ever wanted Liverpool to win more than I do tonight. What a horrible note to start a podcast on.
It was bad. It was really poor again. Let's just be honest. I mean, not that anyone would expect us to gaslight them or don't have eyes, but that was so poor from United. Just absolutely everything. I mean, the one saving grace is we didn't concede the goal that you predicted that we would.
Yeah.
You called it as 2-1 last time out. So at least, and David didn't chuck one in his net, and
Greenwood scored a nice goal, and he's had a couple of slightly quieter games. It was a good goal.
It was a good goal.
That's the end of the positives.
He can do that. He didn't do much else apart from a very nice goal, but that's fine. It just everything else was so poor. The passing was awful. The fact that, I mean, and clearly, I think you can, before I get into all the negative stuff, I think you can just say they clearly weren't fit enough, or I don't know if fit's the right word. They were clearly very tired, and that affected their performance. Everything went wrong from there. The passing, the pressing, or there was no pressing, the defending, the ability to compete for second balls in an ugly game.
Everything was so bad.
Went from the fact that United are they played 5 games in a row with the same starting 11, and those players are all knackered, all of them.
Yeah.
And it was just another poor game. I mean, it's 4 games in a row now. Southampton, Palace, which wasn't great despite the win. Chelsea, West Ham. We've not been in the races in any of them, really. I mean, I know we beat Palace. Palace is different. We beat them and they weren't great, but we weren't great.
But we were at the races for Southampton and Palace in that we were competing. We scored really good goals, but we didn't look at our best. The last 2 games, I mean, the Chelsea game was obviously just dismal, and this looked like a massive hangover. My one hope, and this is a hope, not an expectation, by the way, is that this is a kind of bridging post, a halfway house between the absolute travesty of the Chelsea performance and some sort of decent performance against Leicester. Because let's talk about where this leaves us. I mean, at the end of that game, we're all kind of desperately hoping United win the game. Ultimately, and unless Chelsea get beaten twice, which I guess could happen but isn't that likely, drawing or winning by 1 goal were effectively the same result in terms of the head-to-head battle with Leicester, because if they beat us 1-0 under either of those circumstances, racking up a big win would have made a big difference, because then Leicester would have beaten us by more than we'd beaten West Ham. But effectively, by the end of that game, a draw and a win were the same result in that particular battle. Just not if Chelsea beat Liverpool and whoever they're playing next. I can't even remember. Is it Arsenal?
Wolves.
Wolves. There you go. That's right. So there's some context there, but the level of performance was just, you said, I was trying to put it into words, and funnily enough, I'm tired at the end of a long day, so my performance is not the best either. It was the lack of ability to get the second ball past the halfway line was almost the defining quality of what was so bad about that game. Like, every time the ball was just bobbling around the edge of our area, time after time after time. I was watching the game with a friend, and they said, this game just feels like it's been West Ham free kicks all the way through the game. And it kind of did, didn't it? So
look, it played completely into David Moyes' plan. He set up a team as you'd have set up a team against United 6 months ago. I'd just play it narrow, expect that United are not going to break you down very often and play off free kicks and second balls. Except West Ham got more than that, because as the game went on, they got more and more possession and more confident in that possession. I mean, they ended up with 45% of the possession, but so much of United's ball was in these sort of defensive half spaces between the defenders and midfield, and they just weren't able to transition it further forward. And one of the bigger problems, and this is not the return of #agenda Matic out, was Nemanja Matic, who could not recycle the ball at all. I haven't looked it up. I don't know how many balls he gave away, but I'm betting it's a lot more than he normally does. And he or even move the ball quickly. He was taking 4 touches every time. Everything was at jogging pace, and United just couldn't move it quickly, and it started there. And he certainly wasn't alone in terms of blame. Bruno had a horrible game. Pogba, he gave away the penalty, but I wouldn't want our view of his performance to be clouded entirely by that. He had a bit more energy about him. Rashford was just dog awful after, his curve had been upwards, hadn't it? And this was terrible. Martial, ineffective. I looked at Harry Maguire, who might well have been United's best player because he defended well, but he looked shattered with 15 to go. I mean, he looked like he'd just run a marathon. And all of it, the fullbacks were very, very, very poor. Brandon Williams pushed forward more. Fosu-Mensah dragged off at half-time. When Bazaka came on at half-time, and he was dreadful as well.
Williams, I think, when you said agenda, I think we have to say, Brandon Williams, he's just a kid. I'm not hammering him for this. He's obviously not exhausted. He was just bad in this game. He found it very difficult to have any kind of impact. And what's his name? That Bowen had him on toast a lot in that game. Matic, 97 passes attempted, 89 delivered, 92% success rate. So he actually found a man. He by far the most passes in the United side, I think. And
I wonder whether any of them were penetrative, though.
That's the question.
If I get the chance during this podcast, I shall look it up. It felt like he was the fulcrum of not being able to recycle and use the ball quickly. I was so ponderous in this game. Not only just running, but moving the ball quickly. And when we've been good in recent games, recent-ish, relatively recent games, it's because we moved the ball quickly, and no one could cope with that pace of ball movement, especially around the box, especially between Pogba, Fernandes, Martial, Rashford, and sometimes Greenwood, but not today.
So there's a couple of things I wanted to say. I understand why you would be extremely critical of Matic, and he definitely didn't recycle the ball quickly enough. But I actually don't think he was, in the same way that he often has been, even the primary problem with getting the ball from front to back. I think it just broke down at Bruno over and over and over again. And, I guess there's been a few games in a row I've been somewhat critical of Bruno, and by his standards, he found a man a lot. Only gave the ball away 13 times, which is not that much for him. And he made 2 key passes, although I think mostly these were passes leading to not particularly big chances or anything. And again, there's almost no criticism here because he is trying something every single time. But the thing I want to say about the speed of movement of the ball is one of the other characteristics of our play when we've been good in the post-lockdown period is the movement of the players off the ball. And every time, whether it was Pogba, Matic or Bruno that had the ball sort of looking for movement ahead of them, Martial, Rashford and Greenwood didn't start moving in as early as they have been. There was very much that kind of static, and then they'll start moving once they get the ball, and then if Rashford gets the ball, Martial will start moving, but there's no one stretching the play. I think West Ham defended well, and they defended in numbers, and they didn't make any big defensive mistakes, and didn't give away penalty that you might have found that they would have done, and so they defended pretty well. There was one where Ighalo had the ball in the box really late on, and he was just surrounded by West Ham with nowhere to go. So they put in a decent shift. But I think if we'd been on it, we'd have had enough. We just we were just so far from on it. And I feel like detailed breakdown and analysis of this game is almost kind of irrelevant in a way, because this is going to be gone with the win. This game, this is all about what it sets up, and the problem is,
and just to be clear, if it's a very poor dropped point, right? 2 drop points at this stage of the season in the context of what United are chasing, but just to zoom out a little bit, of course, just a few weeks ago, you'd have bitten someone's hand off to be in this position. 8 points behind Leicester when we came out of lockdown, now 1 point ahead. I mean, it's amazing. We didn't expect that. Well, maybe we did. There had been an uptick prior to lockdown. I mean, maybe we didn't expect it that big, right? So, but also the other bigger picture is quite obviously Ole doesn't trust his full squad. Quite obviously. And because he's gone with the first 11 he knows and basically knows and trusts after he came out of lockdown. And he completely understand it. I mean, I think it's poor squad management in the round, but I completely understand it. And that's the bigger piece here, that beyond, 12 or 13 players, it's hard to find anyone you really trust.
And that's only like, there's only a couple of positions where you're getting to 12 or 13. There's only a couple of positions where you've got 2 players that could potentially do the job. And this is, and really that's just central midfield, basically. Fred, McTominay, Matic. And that's really the only position where there's any squad depth. And you could argue, well, I guess Fred and McTominay and Matic are not exactly interchangeable, are they? But, between the 5 midfielders, you can put out 3. Everywhere else, the second choice is maybe we could, Williams, we were kind of advocating for Williams ahead of Shaw. He's not, I'm not having a go at him for being bad in this game. Like, he's a kid and he's not played any football since
Williams ahead of
and,
Shaw made sense for lots of portions of this season. Right now, he's had his 2 chances. He's not had any football for months and he's been poor in them. There's no real option at right back. Delot, we've barely seen him in his 2 years at United, which, he's got lots of qualities. In central defence, Eric Bailly is the option, and he's injured all of the time. Yeah, talent, but we know there's a mistake in him. Sergio Romero isn't fit enough to play every week, despite the sort of Twitter conversation this week. Up front, well, it's we're very thankful that Mason Greenwood's had a great period post-lockdown, because Dan James has been poor most of the season, but August. It's desperately thin, and we're just kind of hoping that the right kind of decisions are going to be made between, Monday and August. I think it's August the 12th.
October
the 12th, that the window's going to close. But, history doesn't tell us that's necessarily going to be the case. I mean, you want to ship 5 out and 3 in, basically, I think, of this squad. And I can't see United doing 8 deals. Doesn't seem likely. Anyway, we haven't actually talked about the goals or the game much. It's all been zoomed out. But, the first one is just... I expected United to concede after they'd had half an hour of pretty poor performance, but I expected it to be a header from a corner or a free kick or something like that. Not Paul Pogba trying to protect his good looks as Damien Rice tries to lash one in.
The Athletic had a little piece the other day that was like a quiz, a referee quiz, and to see how well you knew the laws of the games. It was quite fun. And one of the questions, they were all multiple choice, and one of the questions was about which of these is not a reason that you would rule out a handball. And it was like ball being kicked at the hand from close range, blah, blah, blah. And one of them was player is protecting his face, and that one is a handball. So I had that very much in mind watching that VAR, going, oh, this is literally a nailed-on pen. There's no way this is anything other than a pen. And I guess he's somewhat lucky to escape a booking, even. I guess it's involuntary, so that would have been remarkably harsh.
Yes, he's not. They in Spain, for example, that is almost an automatic booking, or had been. I think the new handball, while many people don't like the fact that there's two different handball rules depending on whether you're attacking or defending and which phase of play of each of those things, the fact that you have to be in your natural silhouette for it to be handball is clarified from intent or not intent.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
It is really clear now. That is handball every single time.
100%.
I mean, the fact that with VAR he's tried to pretend he got hit in the face.
Yeah, not going to work, Paul. Dave was almost not looking. He nearly, Antonio caught him napping a little bit. He was like looking down and he was like, then he did make his dive. He just dived the wrong way, and that's fine. Not his fault. Our goal was really nice, lovely play. It was like one of the only bits of really coherent, nice attacking football. We managed a great ball from Martial to Greenwood and an absolutely fantastic finish and a nice build up too.
What do we expect from him now?
Just
fantastic
like
finish, standard for Mason. I mean, and that's just so disappointing. After that, United got back in it. We weren't really in it at all before that. We very poor performance in that first half. Score 5 minutes after half time, and you're thinking, okay, lads, push on from here. Now comes a bit of energy. Here's the wake up call. It just never came. Never.
You wonder whether they're almost like, I don't know about consciously, but on some level, they're like, okay, well, a draw here, and we can conserve a bit of energy, and we play a shootout against Leicester. But there was a bigger prize at stake. Certainly, if they'd got a few goals, there was a big prize at stake. And I mean, I know, I kind of ruled it out as an option, but also, like, literally, we're above Chelsea in the league right now. So if Chelsea lose 2 games, then we're still going to be above Chelsea in the league, whatever we do. So it's disappointing. A disappointing performance. Very disappointing performance. Not, I have to say, particularly surprising. I mean, I predicted a loss, and I wasn't being like deliberately trying to do reverse psychology on the universe, because I'm pretty confident that what we predict on this show has literally no bearing on events in that sense. But the not at the races factor, I guess, should we take a little break and then talk about whether they're going to be at the races against Leicester?
Yeah, I mean, we can do. I'm trying to think of how you'd summarise it, other than what I said at the beginning, which was just how poor and lacking in energy or inventiveness or anything happened. I mean, just one other thought apart from the squad management portion of my criticism of Ole. He didn't try and do anything with substitutes either. I mean, Gallows came on in 70-something minutes.
What's he supposed to do though? Like, I mean, I'm not saying
but that's what you do as a coach, right? You try and affect the game in some way. But
I mean, don't you think that almost any substitution at that point, you're just like, well, I could try massively downgrading one of these players for a much worse player who might be a bit fitter than them and hope that works. Well,
he did. He brought Adriano Gallo on for Marcus Rashford.
Yeah.
With 10 minutes to go or whatever it was. I mean, McTominay was available in midfield. He could have brought McTominay in and pushed Pogba way forward. He could have gone to a completely different formation and gone to 2 up front. Given how narrow the game was, we could have gone from back to front quicker. I mean, there's all sorts of options, and none of it happened. So, which we might be asking on Sunday at what time do the games kick off on Sunday?
4 o'clock, I think.
6 o'clock. And look, the other macro thing I wanted to talk about is if we don't make the Champions League, it's not going to be because we blew 2 points against West Ham or Southampton or we lost against Leicester. It's because this squad was completely ill-equipped to chase Champions League football on 31st of August or whenever the transfer window closed. Last year. Yeah, that was the problem when they decided that they didn't want to pay for Bruno Fernandes, the £55 million fee that was demanded. And then in January, they decided, after it looked like Paul clearly at that stage they knew Pogba would be out for months, that they suddenly did want to pay, So that's where the real fault lies. But I think we'll look back on games like this in Southampton with some regret if we miss out on Sunday.
I mean, to be specific about it, he could have gone to 2 up front, but then he's got to find 2 wide players from somewhere that he hasn't got in his squad. He could have gone from front to back, but then we're literally playing into West Ham's strengths if we do that. I mean, we made them look good at the thing that's not their game. God knows what would have happened if we tried to play their game, So it's not like, and as for substitutions, you're not looking at that going, why isn't he doing X, Y, or Z? Maybe you could say, well, he should have tried anything, because plan A was so dramatically not working.
That's kind of the point I'm making. I'm not trying to say, obviously, bringing Igalo on for Rashford is an upgrade.
No. But it's a bit like, I was thinking that you kind of want Fernandes to come off because he's playing so badly, but it's the old Rooney problem of, I don't mean right at the very end of Rooney, but the sort of 2014, 2015 kind of Rooney problem where he's playing really badly, but you don't really want to take him off because he could still do something, get a free kick, do a madness, suddenly pull a brilliant moment out of thin air, and he did that less and less, but he would, for a long time, he would still do that when he was playing really badly. It is a difficult problem.
I get it. It's just that basically from 51 minutes on, when Greenwood scored, our strategy was hope that they suddenly start playing better.
Yeah, I agree. And for me, the real problem isn't about the lack of technical change or, tactical change. For me, the real problem is about the lack of being able to inject anything into the side through force of personality, through whatever it might be. This remains my biggest concern about Solskjaer, and that's probably not going to change unless, we've talked about all the things he's getting right and the things that he's got right, especially in the kind of post-lockdown era. But you watch him during the drinks break, that second drinks break, and you're thinking, I was about to say I'm not an expert in body language. I literally am an expert in body language, and I'm definitely not an expert in football, but I am actually an expert in body language. And I was looking at him going, how does that convey anything to these players that's going to lift them?
Sure.
And you can overascribe...
In Ollie's worst periods at United, we've often characterised his body language as rabbit in the headlights, right? He's the schoolboy who won the competition to become Manchester United manager. And I think he's demonstrated through his results and the way he's got the team playing that he's much more than that. But at key moments, you sometimes want more. It was really noticeable. And again, I don't want to sound like the Sun criticising Steve McLaren as England manager, but it's really noticeable. The vocal party on the touchline was David Moyes and his coaching staff all of the time.
Yeah.
It's really noticeable during that game. When United gave the ball away and it was with one of the West Ham fullbacks, it was time. West Ham with time. Hey, you guys play sensibly, because this lot are shot. Anyway.
One before we go, we can't leave a game with David Moyes without having a dig at him talking about time. He was talking about time before the game, saying it was the only difference. Ollie's had a bad start too. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I think, won the first 16 games in a row as Manchester United manager, and also until the weekend.
12. Let's not exaggerate.
Right, but I think he was 19 unbeaten until, I'm not sure David Moyes had remind me, did David Moyes have a 19-game unbeaten streak?
Did he even make 19 games? Yeah, he did. Sadly, he did.
Yeah, let's compare 2 European away performances under the two managers, say like maybe PSG versus Olympiacos. The one thing that you never hear is a United player who played under David Moyes saying David Moyes should have been given more time. I have never heard anyone say that except him.
So he said, I should have had more time. And he's never let this go. He has never had one moment of introspection in the 6 years and 2 months and however many days since he was fired as Manchester United. Not one moment of introspection saying, you know what, maybe I failed. right? And then you add on top of that the fact that his squad clearly hated him, didn't respect him, and then eventually, A2 Brutus'd him, right? Ryan Giggs getting the big knife out and then just stabbing it in a couple more times just for good measure. Yeah, I mean, this guy was shot as United manager, and then, in case you're in any doubt, in case you're not sure about that opinion, you think maybe I'm being a bit harsh, let's just check his record out since then, because he's done amazingly well. Where?
Well, he's kept West Ham. West Ham have appointed him twice to keep them up, and it's worked both times. So that's something. Well done, Moisey.
Anyway, should we take some adverts from sponsors who are probably advertising something?
Yeah, let's do it. If you want more from the show in between shows, check us out on the socials. We are NQAT Pod on Instagram, Ed's at NQAT Pod on Twitter, and we are under our real names on Facebook at No Question About That. So buy that if you want to, and don't if you don't. That's my take on it. Oh, God, we've got to talk about the Leicester game. I don't want to talk. I mean, obviously we're going to talk about this game, but I just want it to be over.
Yeah, well, after this it will be. I mean, United. So it's 26th. Sunday it takes place, and then the next game after that is a home game against LASK. It's a dead rubber. Ole would do the very sensible thing, I think, of letting everyone who matters have as much rest as possible right now. I mean, they're going to get some good time off, but he could play the youth team. They're not going to get beaten 6-0. And it's a small squad anyway, right now, relatively small squad. So, yes, they will get some time and we can think about something else very shortly. In the meantime, Leicester's such a conundrum right now because they've been playing mostly very poorly. But they definitely have players who can hurt us.
They've been playing mostly very poorly and then occasionally really well and occasionally fine but losing. Like this game... I don't. So you look at Leicester City's results since lockdown. So I'm going to run through all of them because we've got time. They drew 1-1 with Watford, that was the first game back. It almost doesn't count. Terrible result, obviously. The 0-0 draw with Brighton at home was a very bad result. They then lost to Chelsea. Then they lost to Everton in a game which they had extended periods where they were the better side. They smashed Palace 3-0. They drew 1-1 with Arsenal, who got a man sent off. Arsenal were definitely the better team that game.
Leicester would have won had it not been for... Arsenal would have won had it not been for a very late goal, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Arsenal definitely the better side in that game. The Bournemouth game, Leicester were massively the better side for the first half. Got a man, conceded again and got a man sent off, and then it all went completely crazy and they lost 4-1. They then beat Sheffield United and they were assured. Yeah, I mean, that's a game that kind of suited them, but nonetheless, they were excellent. Then just completely capitulated against Spurs, but that required one wonder goal from Harry Kane, a good goal from Harry Kane. We talked about the XG of that game on a previous show. It's not like they were dominated by Spurs and lost the game. So I don't know how we go into this being like, well, because they haven't just been rubbish in lockdown. They've been really mixed.
Yeah, I think this is all about United. And if we play for Leicester, and this is the thing that worries me about Ole, honestly, I think he's quite reactive a lot of the time. He hasn't been so much in the period after we came out of lockdown. We talked in previous shows about United finding an identity, finally, which wasn't about playing counter-attack football, right? But I think as a coach, mentally, he's reactive to what the other team does, and often in quite a slow way. And so that's the thing that worries me most about Leicester, that even with Maddison out, even with both their fullbacks injured, that somehow we'll find a way to try and play into their strengths. And especially in this scenario where we can get away with a draw. I think that's the worst scenario possible for United. Because as soon as we do that, if he goes with 3 at the back again, I'll know that's signalled that's what we're looking for.
He's not going to do that. He's not going to free at the back. No,
we've got Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 3 days. I'm hoping they do almost no physical work in the next 3 days. They'll do light ball work and do a lot of analysis and preparation. They just try and get them fit. But I said that after the last game, you know. I am worried about this game, and it's mostly about our mentality, not Leicester.
No, exactly. When I'm talking about Leicester and their relative strength or weakness, I guess I'm saying it's not like they'll be a walk in the park, because this is a massive game for them. I mean, this is a stupid thing to say, right? This is an absolutely astronomical game for these players. This is the biggest game they've had since the season they won the league. You know, they haven't been back in the Champions League since that. This is absolutely astronomically important for them. They are going to be completely and utterly up for this. They've had a week's rest between the two games.
Yeah.
You know, so that's a big deal, obviously. So they're going to be a serious threat to United. I think there is no way he's playing 3 at the back in this game because the personnel are hardly there to do it. I mean, Bailly was okay, thank goodness, after that horrible knock. He's back in training, he's okay, but the personnel aren't really there for him to play 3 at the back. And also, it was such a disaster against Chelsea that he could be reactive to that and be like, better stay away from this.
Sure, but Leicester often play 3 at the back these days. And so he might just want to match up. You know, I hate it when we play 3 at the back because it always signifies a negative approach. Perhaps the one time it hasn't is at Stamford Bridge when we won there. But almost every other time, it's about like covering up for defensive frailties that Ole sees, of which there are, of course. Anyway, I don't think it will happen, but there's a chance. And this is there's a wider point there about my worry here is that United will play into their hands. Will think a draw is enough. Will start retrenching if it's 1-1 after 75 minutes, and we start creeping back towards our box. I'll be desperately worried. The best thing possible that can happen in this game is we're going to go for it. And the worry is that first 11 that can do that, can impose our will on Leicester, on a weakened Leicester without their best creative player and without 2 of their best defenders. Soyuncu will be back, I assume, won't he?
I think he was banned for the season.
Was he? Oh, right. Okay, because it's violent conduct. Oh, okay. Yeah. He won't be. All right. So they're playing 2 fullbacks, 2 very, very fresh young fullbacks. And in fact, they brought in Bennett in the last game against Spurs, who's not their first choice at all. And Wes Morgan, who hasn't been, right? So they are there for the taking. If only United go and play, impose our will and our pattern of play and our style on them.
So we're there for the taking too, though, because we're going to play a back 4 of Wan-Bissaka, probably Williams, I guess, and Maguire and Lindelof, who just look. I mean, Maguire was better today, and I thought actually I saw a lot of like really, really intense criticism of Maguire after his performance in the FA Cup final. I just think he was concussed, like really, or at least woozy. Maybe concussed is too medical a term, but anyway, that's another conversation. Oh, one other thing, bloody Gary Neville. It's honestly, I can't stand him.
Look, he's a United legend. He played his entire career at the club. He's won everything possible in the game. When he came into Sky Sports, he was an absolute breath of fresh air as a pundit and as an analysis, and he upped the level of analysis. And he can still do that at times as an in-studio analyst. As a co-coms, he's sanctimonious, and I can't stand it. I just think it's just so uncalled for. It's his tone that's the problem, as well as what he says. But mostly it's the tone. It's the sort of I am above you, Simon Cowell watching the X Factor, judging you tone. Yeah. I just wish I could have the red button, no co-coms.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, that is worth. I thought it was worth a mention, given that we hammered a famous Man United hater. We should take it out on one of our own when we feel the same way about him. Sadly, and I do think that it's a real shame that he isn't just being used at what he's good at, because he's actually never been that good as co-commentator. Not right from the beginning. He's always, and especially against United, he brings out the worst in him, because I think he cares too much, and he's trying to mask his red tinted spectacles, and that him, alongside many of the kind of class of 92, have a visible distaste for the current crop of United players for reasons.
Yeah, I don't know why he feels the need to do that. He should just... I'm a United fan, I want United to win. Sky Sports coverage of Liverpool versus Chelsea had John Barnes and another Liverpool player who I've completely forgotten. Oh, no, sorry, Souness. And Kelly Cates, who is, of course, Kelly Dalglish. Do you think they're hiding their delight at Liverpool winning the title? I don't think so.
Well, to be fair to Gary, I don't think he'd hide his delight in the studio at Man United winning the title. I'm pretty sure he'd be quite open about that. Liverpool are winning that game, so that's good. I'm not
Watch
a tribal.
Yourself. Watch yourself.
I'm not a tribal man.
Are you reading my body language here, Paul?
Just to be clear for the listeners who don't get our Zoom call, it's not Zoom, it's Google Hangouts. Ed is literally flicking the bird at me, and he's not wrong. Let's face it. In this case, he's not wrong.
Showing our age there. We're using Google Hangouts. God, who uses Google Hangouts? We are not Zooming this. What?
No.
Zoom's not secure, fellas. You know, if there have been things that happen with Zoom and people dialing into Zooms that they thought were private, and unpleasantness being demonstrated. Yeah.
Talking of unpleasantness being demonstrated, we've got to predict the results of a game which Manchester United's Champions League qualification entirely rests on, wherein a draw or a win will be good enough, and any loss will see us crash out.
League.
Oh, no. Honestly, this is one of the main reasons that I don't want us to finish fifth, is because I really want to put my feet up for 3 weeks and watch months and months worth of football blasted into my eyeballs. A very high quality football it's going to be too.
And it not matter.
The Champions League, exactly, and not care at all.
Yeah.
But if I'm not going to be able to...
United to win the Europa League just for the sake of winning the Europa League. But
exactly. Yeah. But then that will be really enjoyable. That'll be like a lovely we'll enjoy that if there's something resting on it. Like, I'm not going to be able to enjoy the Champions League tournament, which is like almost dream football scenario, let's face it, if we've got to win the stupid thing.
It would be dream football scenario if we were in it, but we're not. We're in its dirty little runt of a cousin. Yes.
Yeah. So please let us win this game.
Yeah, I think it'll be 1-1.
Yeah, all right. I don't want to make the prediction that I think it's going to be, so I'm going to say I think it's going to be 1-1.
5-0 to United.
Yeah. Oh, God, if we get 2 early goals in that game, I'm going to cry salt tears.
Please, I'll sell my children for 2 early goals.
To get into the Champions League, this is how far we done fell. You're selling your children for the top 4.
It's pathetic. It's pathetic.
Once upon a time, you'd have sworn blind that you would only sell your then only child for the league title. And maybe even only the Champions League. Maybe we were so sated by league titles that it would have had to be a Champions League to sell your firstborn. Now you'll get all 3 for top
the price
4.
Of 1.
Unbelievable. 3 for the price of a third of 1 then. It's unreal.
It's really poor. We have become Arsenal. Arsenal have become Burnley.
That's the only consolation in it. In the process of us becoming Arsenal, they've become Burnley. Lots of very positive chat from me about Mikel Arteta, whose team then lost to Aston Villa in hilarious fashion. Jack Grealish was absolutely outstanding in that game.
In this period of watching every possible football game, sidebar, the missus asking me if I'll ever get bored of watching football all day long. I think it was a rhetorical question, and she didn't actually want an answer to that one.
Do you want me to? Because I've known you for a long time, Ed. I can just text her and let her know what the answer to that question is.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, well, I think that might have been part of your best man speech, actually.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah. Lots of very nice stuff, and he'll never get bored of watching football. You can back out now.
I didn't,
by the way, wasn't it?
I didn't do a comedy takedown. It's not in my nature to do a comedy takedown. I did a comedy build-up.
That's right.
Yeah.
Anyway, 1-1. We
won
nice
5
rest.
We won 5-0 that day, Ed. We won 5-0 that day. So maybe that will happen again.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I didn't want to do this show, and now I don't want to stop because I'm scared that this is now going to send us into the void of time in between now and 6 o'clock on Sunday when it's all done.
Well, you've got the second half of Liverpool-Chelsea to watch, and I assume there's games on Thursday and Friday. I assume there might not be, actually, because
all
that's right.
Sunday at the same time. So because the game week ends on today, and then
it's
all Sunday,
and it all happens on Sunday. I shall be dual screening it, I guess.
Will you?
United versus Leicester, Chelsea Wolves. Chelsea Wolves on the little screen, obviously.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna watch United Leicester, unless Josh Butler and Ben Stokes are opening the batting again, in which case I might have to briefly dual screen.
It's raining, so
I know.
Day 3 it'll be raining.
Yeah, I was going to say there's Test match cricket to tide us over on Friday and Saturday, but really there isn't. So anyway, take it easy, everyone. Look, everyone, don't do any physical work. Do just tactical work, technical work between now and then. Keep yourselves in good shape. Don't overexert yourselves for the final push. We need as much positive mental energy as we can possibly muster between us for 4 o'clock on Sunday. And we'll be back. Whatever happens, this is the thing, right? Whatever happens, we're recording a show at full time. Whatever happens, which is a horrible thought. So please, United, please do it. Please.
Could be a very short show.
Yeah.
We'll see you on Monday.
We'll see you then.
With that.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.